Good evening and welcome back to the news. There has been an increase in gender-based violence around the world, especially now during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic. This came out during the launching of a 3-day training on the subject being held at the Eden Blue Hotel. The training is being organized by the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Family in collaboration with the American Embassy. The training session was officially opened by the Minister responsible for family, Marie-Céline Diallo. In her opening remark, Mrs. Diallo said that according to a study done in 2016, Seychelles have seen an unprecedented increase in gender-based violence. She said this acknowledges that there is gender-based violence in the Seychellois community.
More than half of the women, an equivalent of that 58%, almost 60%, and 43% of men have experienced some kind of gender-based violence at least once in their life. And I don't think these figures should be taken lightly. The study further shows that most of the violence occurred in the homes between intimate partners. The figures show 54% of women compared to 35% of men. That was in 2016. Fast forward 2021, from April, since now September, small population of about 90,000 people, we have registered 38 cases of assault that happened between intimate partners. And with the arrival of COVID-19, with the restrictions, it is no surprise that we are seeing increase in cases generally of violence within our homes. As we strategize on ways to mitigate this situation, we are enthusiastic to co-host this training for bringing hope.
Today, Seychelles joins the rest of the world to celebrate World Tourism Day. In his message for the occasion, the minister responsible for tourism, Sylvestre Radegonde, said that it is a day that highlights the importance of the travel and tourism industry. He said that in line with this year's theme, Shaping the Future, we applaud the people in the industry and their contributions. He also made call for everyone to unite as the country seeks to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, at the same time elevate the standards of services and products the country has to offer.
UNWTO has designated World Tourism Day 2021 as a day to focus on tourism for inclusive growth. Inclusive growth is what we are striving for as we seek to recover from the impact of the pandemic, and it will be driven by tourism. It concerns every one of us and every Seychellois. Every sector of economic activity in our country should be involved in this process, especially in this new normal.
A new group of 10 pioneers has been honored with plaques at the Tourism Pioneer Garden at the Tourism Academy. That was on the occasion of the World Tourism Day today. Minister for Tourism, Sylvestre Radegonde, addressed the invitees, saying that the recipients of these plaques have been pillars of the industry and that their contributions have been of great value.
We are here today remembering all those who have been before us, who have done a lot of work to take the industry where it is today. We are honoring 10 pioneers, but there are many more who are here and others that will follow. You know the toil, the sweat, the happiness, the tears that have gone into the work. I personally know some of you. I know your passion. There's been a lot of passion in what you've done to get your own business, but also the business of the country moving. As we celebrate the work that you've done, recognize the work that you've done, we want this to be also a sign of encouragement, an example to the youth. And I would like to remind the youth that it's a lot of work working in the tourism industry.
Further sharp rises in the price of food and other imports could be on the way as the cost of shipping goods by sea continues to soar. SBC News has learned that pressure for inbound cargo space is delaying imports, leading to empty shelves. Freight companies are partly blaming a global shortage of shipping containers on sudden European demand for Chinese goods as COVID restrictions ease.
Retailer Pamela Kupusami fears she'll soon be putting up the prices again in her Eden Island shop. She imports from India, but the cost of shipping in goods has doubled this year and could double again.
Of course, I have to get the things here by container. Like now, I had a month delay. Luckily, I had a reserve, a stock, which I managed to get by with the rent. But it's. I hope things will get better eventually.
The problem is partly a global shortage of cargo containers that's particularly affecting bulky items. Since April, the cost of transporting a single 40-foot container from the Far East through the Indian Ocean to northern Europe has risen from around $6,000 to more than $12,000, and we're feeling it. Mahe Shipping's managing director, Joe Morin, told SBC News after COVID, the entire world started placing orders for goods, and there hasn't been enough containers nor vessels to fulfill all that demand. Ships were full, shipping lines started increasing rates. The shipping line Maersk agrees, blaming bottlenecks faced globally on supply chains as a result of the Suez incident, erratic and often quite sudden increases in demand, which has further been impacted by port productivity issues. Worldwide, shortages of dock workers forced to stay at home under COVID quarantine restrictions have slowed down the processing of cargo. But it's claimed Port Victoria has been relatively unaffected.
Right at the start, we knew that we are in essential services. If we have to work, if there's a vessel, we are 24-hour service, and that has not stopped. We have had to close early because we work closely with customers also, and at times customers had to shorten the hours of service, but we've also expanded at times when there was a need for expansion.
Another factor behind rising costs is import duty. An importer purchases goods overseas, but by the time they get here, the exchange rate has changed and there's more import duty to pay. We spent weeks trying to get the Revenue Commission to comment on this, but despite our numerous attempts, we've been unsuccessful. As world trade recovers from the effects of COVID, what's clear is stored-up consumer demand means cargo cost inflation is certain to continue. In other words, the price for things we buy will carry on rising.
Representatives of the Ecosystem-Based Adaptation Project has launched a forest fire prevention public awareness campaign on Pralin with the unveiling of forest fire prevention signboards. They've been installed near the road in the Vallée de Mai Reserve to educate people not to smoke or set fire in the reserve. The Minister for Agriculture, Climate and Environment, Flavien Joubert, and the Minister for Internal Affairs, Errol Fonseca, unveiled the signboards. Various organizations took part in a fire and safety training session together with officers from the Seychelles Fire and Rescue Services Agency on Pralin. They received their certificates in a ceremony held recently at the Fire and Rescue Services Agency station on Eve Island in the Baie-Sainte-Anne district. The Minister for Internal Affairs, Errol Fonseca, and the Minister for Agriculture, Climate and Environment, Flavien Joubert, were present at the ceremony. And the Minister for Education has called on the Seychelles Institute of Teacher Education, SIT, to help the ministry in its efforts to transform the education system, which it has started. Minister Justin Valentin made the appeal this morning during a visit to the institute. We've come to the end of this news summary. Thank you for watching.